families who are actually going through maybe a difficult path and seems a little bit dark sometimes. And I always vision myself like pulling them. This is the way, we can do this together. I'm here, we walk together towards the light.
Yoko, thank you so much for coming here this morning. I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much for having me.
No. And I know you're tense and a little kincho and stuff,
Yeah.
but relax a little bit and stuff. So I met you at our favorite soul food house.
You're right.
And I was talking there.
A week ago?
It was about a week ago, right. And I liked your smile. You have such a beautiful smile. And I enjoyed that. And you said I could look you up on Facebook, but there's about 1,000 Yoko Satos. So
Yes,
you said,
1,000.
but I found you. Didn't I find you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Because you smile, the way you smile. And everyone can say, look at her smile. It doesn't, come on. Look at the smile. Did you always have such a nice smile, even as a little girl? Why don't you give me some of those pictures so I can post them up?
Okay.
All right, send me some. Did you always had a nice smile as a little girl?
Yeah.
That'd be
I had
nice.
little chubby cheeks, you know.
Did you?
Yeah. Kind of really round face. When I was born, it was pretty heavy.
You were how many kilos?
3 point, I think,
Whoa,
8.
that is heavy.
Yeah.
Almost
For
4
Japanese,
kilos?
Yeah.
Whoa.
For Japanese. Yes.
Your mom had a ball carrying you around.
Yeah.
So you're number 2.
Yes.
Because you have an older sister.
Yes.
All right. And how's she doing?
She's doing okay. Yeah, she lives in Tokyo too.
And you were born here?
I was born in Hyogo prefecture.
Hyogo prefecture, okay.
In a town called Inamicho, which is, beautiful rice field, right? Literally translated.
Right.
And so I was, pretty much like tom girl.
Okay.
Yeah, just running around, and my toy was, like bugs and
grasshoppers and stuff like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
And dragonflies. Did you can pick up bugs even now?
Yeah.
You have no problem?
No problem. I
So
see little, like small, tiniest fruit flies,
Right.
and then go, like sometimes go.
Yeah, I do that too.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody goes,
Yeah,
oh!
don't they? Okay, what about gokiburi?
Gokiburi is different.
Are you seriously? You can't. You don't play with gokiburi?
I can't.
You can't get them and go with them. And just come here. And just.
I can still deal with it, but I need, a lot of like, okay, what do I need?
Okay,
moments
but
like,
how was your mother around gokiburi?
Oh, she can just.
Oh, really?
She can go after it, with a slipper. It's like.
What about your father?
He's more like, it's over there. It's over there.
See, the reason why I'm saying it because we pick up these feelings usually from our parents.
Definitely.
The people we're closer to. So if your mom's really afraid of stuff, you'll tend to be. Or your father, whoever you paid attention to, because you're watching them. Because if they go like this, oh, come over here.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so cute. Come here and just pull their antennas off. So they run around like this. They can't tell what's going on. No, that's bad. That's bad. So you were born in Hyogo.
Yes.
You have one older sister.
Yes.
Are you guys close?
Yes. Now.
Very close?
Yeah, very close now. Yeah.
Now, you're not married.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore. You were married before, right? And what about your sister?
She's married
She's
for
married?
a long time. She got married to her first, sweetheart.
Really?
Yeah.
Is
So,
in school or something?
she was, no, at the time she met him when she was in high school, I think.
Okay.
And her boyfriend at the time was, in university.
Okay.
And they met through pen pal, like pen paling at the
Okay,
time.
really?
So writing, each other, like mailing it. Nowadays, it's no longer. I never
No.
seen. Yeah.
Right.
I hardly see any postcards.
Nobody knows how to write. They can't write anymore.
But that's how they met. Like,
That's
so
right.
romantic. Yeah. So when her brother-in-law now came to our house, I was like, I have a big brother now. I was like really excited because I was still young at the time.
Okay. They got married soon then.
Yes,
Kinda.
but I think it was maybe 5 years later or so.
She have kids?
No.
No kids.
We're a very, very small family.
Small family too.
My dad passed away about 13 years ago. And I have, of course, my mother and my sister and brother-in-law.
Your mother's in good health?
Yes.
How old is your mom now?
She's 77.
Oh, she's young.
Yeah.
Young woman. Does she stay active? What does she do to stay active? Your mother?
She does Tai Chi, yoga.
Tai Chi?
Yeah.
She's really active.
Yes. But because of the COVID,
Right, she couldn't get with the group so much.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, but she does sometimes in her, living room and.
Okay.
play
What else does
the
she do? What
DVD.
other kind of hobbies?
She does painting,
Mm-hmm.
etegami we call, and she also she loves the mahjong because she wants to keep her brain
I
active.
played that a couple of times. I like
Yeah,
mahjong.
she's really good at
Is that right?
Yeah. So she's pretty busy, and she loves to. She always looking after herself. So she goes out for long walks and have friends and eat out. And
How often do you and your sister go to see her?
Maybe before COVID, I used to go every week. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, especially after my dad passed away.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but nowadays maybe once a month or even once in 2 months.
Yeah.
I
Do you guys
just
like do
visit-
celebrations together and stuff?
Yeah, all the time because
Okay. It's just
we're
the three of
really
you.
small, right?
Yeah, the four of you.
And my mom and I are really, really, really close. So
Really?
yeah,
So you've opened up and told her everything.
pretty much. Yeah,
Has she
love
done the same with
life.
you? Has she done the same with you? Or do you ask her? Or you're not interested?
She doesn't really. She loves to listen to me, but she doesn't. She's very typical Japanese.
She won't volunteer any
right?
information.
Not so much. Just like give me, feed me your stories, right?
Then you do.
Yes. Because I love to, talk about. Like I don't really talk about my life or my personal things to others, but she's the only one who I can feel like.
You can expose.
Yeah.
Right. What were you like? You said you were a little tom girl, but we said tomboy. We'd always say tomboy. But you're a little tomboy when you were young. What kind of sports did you like when you were young?
Running and climbing and jumping and pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, because there was not much to do.
Were you like the leader in your group, or were you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I had. It was very small.
I know. Somebody has a lead.
Community, and we we had lots of little kids, and they used to come to my house,
Right.
and Yoko-chan, like, can I play with you? And lots of kids just come to my house, and I used to kind of not babysit but play with them, and so that was my maybe.
But what about your big sister?
She was more like a quiet person. I
So
was
you
very
like-
social, and she's more introvert.
Introvert.
Right.
Okay.
And so she was the one who would stay in her room and like reading because she loves to read.
And you'd be outside
I
playing
was
with
just,
bugs?
Yeah. And all the time, kids are coming and making a lot of noises, and my sister like being quiet. And we used to share a kind of large bedroom
Okay,
together.
yeah.
So she's on this side and I'm this side, and kids are coming, going. And then there's an accordion curtain in
Right,
between.
right.
So of course she was like, oh, I
Yeah,
can't, like help me.
Right.
I'm trying to be quiet and enjoy my stories, right? Meanwhile, I'm like, just screaming and laughing.
So then went through elementary. What about junior high school?
Yes, junior high school. I was still in this, small community, and then my family, my dad's work had to transfer to Chiba, actually Tokyo headquarters. So that's why we moved to Chiba.
Okay.
From Hyogo all the way.
Right.
So that was a big change. I was 13 years old.
13. You didn't want to go.
No, and especially my sister.
Where in Chiba?
It was in Funabashi.
Funabashi. Okay.
Do you know
All right.
Funabashi?
Yeah.
Of
See you
course
in
you know.
Funabashi. Yeah. See you in
You know
Funabashi.
the whole country.
So you were there from age of 13?
Yes.
Is that where your mother is now?
Mm-hmm.
Same place?
No. We moved to another location in Chiba, but so after the first move was from Hyogo to Chiba, and then they moved another, to another.
When? How
location.
long afterwards?
That was, I think, 2 years maybe later. I don't remember exactly.
Oh, so it wasn't long. So you didn't stay in Funabashi, but just
Not long, yeah.
Okay.
And then we moved to another location in Chiba, and then we also moved again. So my mom lives in Chiba, but not the.
But what about your
original place.
schooling at that time? Because that's junior high school and then high school. So how was school? How were you doing in school?
I was.
Come on.
So in junior high school,
Okay.
right? I was not very good student.
Okay. So how were you in high school? What did you do in high school?
Yes. So So in high school, I was in Chiba, and after the huge transition from Hyogo to Kanto,
Right.
see Kansai and Kanto at
Right.
that time.
I know
Now,
different.
that was biggest.
Big difference in the way that people acted, the soul
Yes.
personalities.
The way we talked, the way
Well,
the boys,
because when you talked about vegetables, for example, a cutie, you'd say nasubi, and in Tokyo they said nasu.
so.
And they didn't know what you're talking about.
so. Yeah, a lot of things.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, the way, the
Watch out, man.
intonation, and aho or baka.
Aho, baka.
Right?
But that's the same every country. Every country has it,
Yes.
but we always think it's just in our environment. I used to always think that everyone else had an accent, but I didn't. No, really, I thought it being an American, you have the accent. I don't have an accent.
Right. What accent do I have?
This is the way everyone's supposed to speak.
When did you realize that?
I think when I came to Japan, because anyone that I knew, New Yorkers had an accent. Californians didn't have an accent, I thought. That's the way you're supposed to speak English.
That's the standard.
But Texans had an accent. Some people in the Midwest, and for sure people in New York or Boston, that area, Park the car, they were all completely different. And nobody could understand them but themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody even know what they're talking about. All right, so you go to high school, and you're in high school. What were your subjects that you really focused on? What were your interests?
Actually, I took music.
What did you? Did you play an instrument?
Yeah. Back in junior high school, I played trumpet. Right. And, yeah, and when I was little, I started, of course, the typical Japanese upbringing at piano. I wasn't very good at it, but I just, naive thinking, like, it's nice to be a piano teacher, right? And then I don't know. I also play volleyball, but I was very small and not be able to
jump as high.
Yeah.
Right.
Was like a receiver.
Receiver, yeah. This you pass it to Yoko. Let her set us up.
Right. So I thought, okay, I'm not a very sporty person, and so I switched it to more, music and art, and then I continued, moving towards that path. So I took music, and that I was taking more music. That this school was kind of specialized in music.
Oh, really?
So instead of taking like science and math, you take more music classes.
Okay,
So
and get credits for that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I did. And so that was my life in high school. And once you are in this environment, everybody's very talented.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And you started comparing yourself.
Big time. And already in high school, and I started doubting myself, and I'm not good enough. Everybody's mom is like musicians or piano teachers.
Were your parents?
No, not at all.
Okay.
And my little hands, I can't really reach and make a loud noise or move fast.
Right.
So I start thinking like, this is not it already.
What happened to your trumpet?
Yeah, the trumpet too. So I was not like amazingly talented trumpeter. So I was always comparing myself with the best guy in the class, and he's so gracefully playing, and teachers like like clapping, and so he's always like, next is me, and always make me nervous. So yeah, so I had a little rough time at the time because of the move, and my sister was also not well adjusted to the new environment, because I told you she was very introvert.
Right.
So and during that time, like you said, you're in a
Your body's changing, right?
Right.
That's
so a
true.
lot of self-consciousness.
Did you guys ever talk about that, like with your mom, or did you?
At that time, no.
Did you and your sister ever talk?
At that time, not really.
So tell me, so after high school, you decided music wasn't quite your forte,
Yeah, for me, yeah.
and you decided to do what? What did you focus on then?
So, well, my mom was a homemaker, and she just had a part-time job at that time. And I always thought that women should have a career. And just by, looking at my mom, because she's very smart and she's got nutritionist license, but she's not using it,
She had a nutritionist license?
Yeah, but she's not using it. And so I was thinking, I was, 15 at the time, and thinking, what do I need to do now? Because I don't think I'm, talented enough to be a musician. Now I have to figure this out, And then go, I want to be a career woman. That's all I was thinking. I'm going to be a career woman. I want to be successful. So.
But what was success in your mind?
So at that time, pretty much like my vision was be able to communicate with people all over the world, and be able to travel all over the world, and work in international companies or in embassy.
Did you speak English then?
No, of course not. So I was thinking, and do I want to go to typical Japanese university, and then what? Graduate and work as a secretary or something. So I was thinking, it's like, no, that's not the way I want to be, So I thought, to be able to work in an international, like global setting, I need to learn English. And I started listening to radio at the time.
At 15?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I also...
And then you started NHK. No,
at that time, like Hyaku, something.
The Armed Forces, AFN? American Forces Radio?
No, not
okay.
that.
Okay.
But
NHK for sure.
And...
Ego de Asobo?
Yes.
My sons were on that, yeah.
Oh,
they did our program in there, yeah, Ego de Asobo. And she's on the podcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He likes it, yeah. That was a good show.
Yes. So that was another transition. And I think I made a very good decision, because otherwise I wouldn't be here. Yeah.
From 15?
15, no, at that time, of course, I was still studying in this music school, right? But instead of going to university in Japan, I just pretty much at that time there was no internet.
Right, no.
Nothing. So I found an agent in Tokyo who helped the students to study abroad. So somehow I found this, place, and I knocked on the door. And
how old were you now?
So I was 15, 16-ish.
And you found this agent, and you went and knocked on his door.
On my own.
By yourself?
Yes, everything was
okay,
by
and what
myself,
happened?
because, of course, my parents, I didn't want to talk about it yet.
Okay.
And
this is in Chiba?
At that time I was in Chiba, but I took a train.
Oh, you came into Tokyo?
Yes, because the agent was in Tokyo.
Okay, and what happened?
So I talked to this person about my, what I want to do, and I would like to study, abroad, not Japan. And then she helped me to find, she also, of course, told me, like, oh, there are many, many schools, do you want to go to England or New Zealand or Australia or Canada or America, and it's like, I don't know. Then for some reason I just decided, okay, it has to be warm place and cheap place and a safe place.
Okay.
So I was thinking all that all by myself, and I decided I would like to go to Canada because Canada is safe, and education is good, and also the British Columbia is warm, So I said I would like to go to Canada. So they helped me to find a school and homestay, and everything was set up. I think I had a bit of saving at the time, I think, because that's how I, got their services, right? So one day I told my dad, I have something to tell you, and like seriously. And I said, I want to go to Canada, and I was 17, I think, and I don't want to go to university in Japan. And of course he was like, what are you talking about? And I said, here's a letter from host family. They will accept me. And I found a school, and I all laid out everything.
And everything. And what did he say?
And I said, but Dad, I need financial support. Can you do that for me? And he said, okay. See, I get a little teary.
Wow, that's beautiful.
So of course, I was thinking, like, of course he wouldn't say yes.
You had already thought, you'd already decided
nervous.
that he might say no. Then the next step would be mom, and mom's going to say no.
Well, my mom was there too.
Oh.
Yeah,
so
I asked
this is going to be the final answer. Okay.
I asked both of them to be
Well, how
there.
was she responding?
Oh, she was, of course, in a huge shock, and it's like,
Really?
yeah. It's like, what are you talking about?
Because first of all, you did all that stuff, yeah.
How did you get all this? And when? And what
right.
about the university? And,
Right.
yeah. So, like, how naive you are, right? Everybody was like, what are you talking about? You're still 17, and how are you going to survive in foreign country? You don't even speak the language, So
Right.
everybody was like, no. But Dad wanted to study in Germany when he was like my age, and that time his mother secretly threw the acceptance letter from university.
Away.
Yeah, well, he already applied for it, like just like me, right? He did just like me, like sneakily found a place to go because he really wanted to study in Germany. And he found out later, long time later, my grandmother confessed to my dad that, I didn't want you to go, so I threw it away.
Yeah, I bet you must flipped him out.
Yeah.
His life would have been so different.
That time he of course forget that.
Forgive
and
me,
yeah, it's okay. But he told me that story and said, you know what, I really wanted to actually.
He told you then?
Yeah.
At that time?
That's why it's okay.
And he said he'd do it. What did his wife say? What did your mother say?
Of course, my mom's like, still no words. Like, no, this is not happening to my baby.
But when your father made the decision, it was the decision.
Yeah, I was already, going, so he couldn't really stop me.
Okay.
And all I want was him to say, I will support your decision.
But also you wanted him to give you some financial support, right?
That's right. So that's why he said, I will support you.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So how long were you gone?
So he said, we're not a wealthy family, and all the savings are, for your university education, and you can use this, but you cannot stay long time. You got only 3 and maybe maximum 3.5 years.
And did you?
So I had to, first, pretty much, I studied from ESL course, of course.
Right.
And I didn't have any.
No building.
Yeah,
right.
and the host family was a little bit like older, parents, and they were from England, and I still remember how I used to analyze how they move their tongues, and that's how I start sort of like, oh.
You got to open it more. You can't be talking like this. You can't just.
Right.
You gotta,
like I used to say, can you say it one more time, very, very slowly, so that I was learning how to make better pronunciation.
With your mouth.
So that's connecting to my career too.
That's
later.
Right.
Right, because I became a speech, language.
But it's
therapist.
interesting that you focused on their mouth. Because most people are focusing on listening.
Yes. So both
Both
say it again,
right.
and say it slowly for me.
So I can see your tongue hit the roof of your mouth.
Yes. And at that time, we don't have a smartphone.
No. So you couldn't
So
record
if
it.
you have it now, of course, you just save it one time and you can watch it, practice. But, my host family was very patient, and my host mother at the time, she was 62-ish. So she was very warm and also supportive and had a lot of patience, with me. And she went over and over with me. Yeah, so that's how I started learning very quickly. I was really a good student. So I just climbed a lot of quickly, and I studied every day.
You went to school there? You went to school there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I studied so hard while, Japanese students are usually playing golf.
And staying with each other.
Yeah, I never stick around with Japanese.
That's why your English is so good.
Right.
And don't say no, but that's why it is so good.
Yeah, well, I had only limited time.
So how long were you there? 3 years?
Yes, 3.5 years. I also did co-op program. So my dream was to become a career woman at the time, right?
Right.
So I thought I have to gain not just education, but working experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked for the government, Canadian government, where I learned how to type and answer the phone, and what else, like taking collect the recordings and things like that.
Shorthand?
For accounting firm.
So they really kept you busy. So you just had your mind constantly impacted, and you wanted it.
Yes, and I just loved it. That time, I think, is really the source of who I am.
That's your core.
Of course, all the history, but that changed me pretty much, because I was not very studious, as I told you. I was like, love to hang out with friends, and more into drawing and sports and music, and I was never been like academic person. But after I moved myself to Canada, all I had to do was study, and that's how I learned how to study and how to pay attention to details, and how to pay attention simultaneously to 2, 3, multiple, things. Before it was a mess. But back then, telephone call was very expensive, right? So I couldn't talk to my parents.
Very long, yeah.
And was 1 minute was like 200 yen or something. So I was talking like, okay, ready? I'm gonna just. Or I used to record my voice in a tape recorder and mail that to.
That's
Japan.
right. Everyone, yes, right.
And then waiting
for them to get it back. Yeah, 2 weeks or so later. Oh, it was like candy. You get it? Come on, you'd get that, and you'd be so happy. After you went to Canada and came back, what was it like when you came back to Japan? Because you'd been gone for 3 years.
Right.
What did it feel like, first of all?
I went back one time for my sister's wedding.
Well, how many years had you been gone before you went back?
1.5 years or something.
Okay, but still, that had to be strange.
Right.
How long did you stay for a week?
I was carrying like 2 suitcases, souvenirs,
Everything.
And I was just, so excited, like to just imagine what kind of face they would have, right? Just throwing their gifts to their face. There you go,
and then,
from Canada.
Slow motion.
I was like, so exciting. So, well, as I said, in Canada, it was not all sweet.
Oh, sweet, yeah, okay.
Because I knew that my parents were not so wealthy, and they're giving everything that they can, So I studied so hard also, and also I did babysitting and newspaper delivery, and
to make some money.
Yeah, just a little bit of money. Of course, you can't get money, but a lot of money. But that's what I did, and it was I didn't. I lived very thriftily, I didn't buy anything for myself. Pretty much. So, and also that made me humble too. And I was Asian and not be able to communicate well.
There weren't a lot of Asians there?
Of course, some.
Okay, so you get your degree for 4 years? Were you in college for 4 years?
Well, I transferred some of the credits.
From what you had before. So you only 2 years? You finished up 2
Yes.
years? You did in 2 years.
Yes.
You get your degree in what?
And then
No, in what? What did you get your degree in?
Psychology, right?
Psychology.
Yeah. Before I studied business administration.
Business. But I thought you were
Speech and
a speech
language
therapist.
yes.
Right.
Because I went to another school after that.
Okay, after that, right.
Yeah. And before that, I also studied special education at the Penn State program. So I studied that, and then after that I went back to school again, this time Japanese school.
Okay.
To get the national license.
For teaching?
For speech.
Speech.
Yeah, speech pathology.
Look at you, Miss Academic now. Just change your whole life.
Yeah, so it's like,
shoot.
So I don't want to study anymore.
You know, you're
No,
done. You're done with the
no.
study part.
No.
That was hard. My goodness.
Especially learning everything again in Japanese.
Oh, yeah,
Everything
that's right.
in Japanese.
That's hard.
That was so hard for me. All the anatomy and brains and
Nervous system.
Nervous system
Right.
and everything in kanji and and everything in our ear and
But you have that degree now.
everything is gone. Don't ask
But
me
you got the
anything.
Minkyo. But you have the Minkyo now.
Right.
That's good. So from there, now how old are you now when you finally got your last degree? When you finished?
So that
When you
was
said
8 years ago.
Okay.
So I've been doing this for quite some time.
Okay. 8 years ago you got it. So what'd you do with it? What are you doing now?
So I started my company. This is the 7th year.
So so you got the degree. It took you only a year for you to set up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I
So you didn't have anything prior to that?
well, I was a freelance-based therapist.
Okay, right.
Using the knowledge and skills and experience that I got from the special education background. But during that time, I thought I have to get a proper national license to be able to really advocate or, do a proper training to others or actually, use my skills. So that's why I went back. But before that, I was already working as a practitioner.
Yeah.
So I started the business, a company, and then now...
By yourself?
Yes, everything's by myself. See, I just do everything by myself.
So
Yeah.
wait, your company is not a Yugen. It has to be a KK. Because they didn't have you. Yeah, because they didn't have a Yugen then. They stopped. You'd have to be much older to have a Yugen. Because they make it...
I see.
Yeah, because both of mine are Yugen.
So that was also something that people asked me, how did you start it? And I said, well, I don't know. I just learned how to do it. Just did it
How
by
did you
myself.
study or start it?
How did you actually establish the school?
Oh, no, the school.
The business
company. Okay, right.
by yourself. And then I said, well, now you have internet. So all you need is...
But you went down to the city office, asked them what I need to do to register, and they said, this will help you out.
So it was not that hard. It was more of risk-taking and really believe in yourself and, have a tremendous passion for it.
So what did your company do? So you set up your company to do what? Why did you want to start a company anyway? What's it supposed to do?
Right. So I was a self, employee, right? Self-practitioner. And I was okay with it. And I didn't want to, put myself in a public, really. I was more like, I'm not good enough, right? We would talk about that.
Right.
Now, I can say I'm okay. I love myself, but it took a while for me to get there. One of the behavioral analysts that I really admire, his name is Dr. Perdington, and he and I been corresponding at the time, and I wanted to translate and publish his assessment tools into Japanese, and he gave me okay. So I thought, okay, now I can really translate this and print and publish in Japan, and that was really big, mission. I thought to be able to, show, introduce this to Japanese people. And I thought if I just did it and just, publish with no company name, who would buy it?
Okay.
That's why I decided to.
Oh, that was the main reason.
That's the main reason.
Okay.
So I didn't really, think about I didn't have this vision of having a clinic or anything like that.
Right.
I just needed to have, proper company to sell this book. I also thought about having this, company that provides services that I was doing at the time, which was providing individualized, therapy sessions to children with special needs, and training others, or having bringing some maybe expert, specialists from the overseas. Or I had these ideas, so that's how I laid out in the company,
right?
Registration, and one of that was, of course, selling the books,
Publishing, right?
Right. For educational purposes. So that's how I started, and I also needed some fellow therapists, because I received several referrals and I was already really busy, and I thought, okay, now it's time to receive some help from other therapists, and then start calling out, and some of the people who have same vision, and they're really willing to do what I want them to do, and slowly they just start gathering, and that's how we start becoming. I don't know where we are now.
What's the name of your company?
Lucrea.
Lucrea.
Yes.
Where'd the name come from?
Well, when I was thinking about the name, I was consulting one of my friends, and he gave me all these options. He was also working in marketing, like a branding company, and he told me, this shouldn't be this way. He gave me a little bit like tips, and it has to be short and represent what you believe, and it has to be unique, and also something that is not taken. So it was very hard.
It's going to cost you this much.
Yes. So it took so much, time, like so many days and days thinking, like typing and, listing out.
By yourself?
Well, he helped me too.
Okay.
But, it comes down to like, you have to pick one out of these.
And why'd you pick Lucrea?
So because Lu is illumination.
Okay.
Light.
Right.
Light means everything. Hope. Passion.
Right.
I don't know. Potential. Right. Star. And Korea is creation. And I always, when I think about children and families who are actually going through maybe a difficult path and seems a little bit dark sometimes, and I always vision myself like pulling them. This is the way, we can do this together. I'm here, we walk together towards the light. So we create the light together, because I can't do this alone. We have to do this together. So that's why I put Lu and Create together, and Lucrea.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you have staff?
Yes.
How many people work with you now?
12 people, 12, 13-ish.
Are they only female, or do you have males as well?
Males too, yeah.
Really?
Mm.
What are the age range of the people that work with you?
Like early 20s, late 40.
Late 40s, okay. So how would you like to end the podcast?
When you saw me at the Soul
Food
Food
House, yeah.
House, I didn't think this is going to be, ended this way. So thank you so much for having me today. And I just would like to say to the community, Tokyo community, that I know what it's like to raise a child with special needs or speech delay. So just don't be feeling, always thinking like, this is what I have to do alone. I'll be, happy to be somebody who you can talk to. And we have a wonderful, wonderful team of specialists. We have occupational therapists, physiotherapists, behavioral analyst, we have a speech therapist, and we have ABA therapists. We have special education specialist, So yeah.
Oh
And
wow, I didn't realize that. So you have a good group.
Yes, they're
So you cover all the
professionals.
areas. But what if kids aren't really, what if it's not that they need the needs, but they just want to sharpen up? Do you do that as well? Let's say some kids that are, let's
like
say they're
when-
average, they're considered average, but they want to get sharper.
Yes,
Do they come to you
we
too?
Do, we
you
do,
do that as
also
well?
have learning support too.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Only for kids.
Yes.
So the older people don't have a chance. If you're older, you say, hey, your time's done. Only for the little kids. Okay.
Yeah.
What age groups do you?
Youngest one is from 1 even.
One? How old are they? Are they talking? One?
Well, when you're 1 and still not having eye contact,
Okay.
or no reciprocal movement, or not even first word, then better to consult.
To come to someone.
Yeah, somebody. Yes. Better than just wait and see
And-
approach.
right. It's
Because
best to
sooner
have-
the better, I think.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being a part of this program, Yoko. And I hope this isn't the last time. We have to do this again sometime.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, I would love to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you enough.
Yeah.
ありがとうございます。
All of you watching this podcast, make sure you press like and subscribe. Leave a comment or two as well. Remember, it's all unknown. Continue to reach for the stars. And remember, you're too blessed to be stressed.